Wukusu, peace, black power, and welcome to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School is a black nationalist, pan-African community organization based in Harlem. We provide relevant and credible political education to help black people wake up, clean up, and stand up, in the words of Brother Malcolm X. To do this, we provide panel discussions, political commentary, mini documentaries, leadership tips, classes, and interviews with some of our most dedicated and effective leaders, activists, and intellectuals around the world. Peace and Black Power families, Brother AGYEI TYEHIMBA from Harlem Liberation School, where we teach black people to wake up, clean up, and stand up. Today, family, we are really pleased to have a brother on. He's not a guest, he's family. If he was over my house and he said, yo, could you get this? I'd be like, I ain't getting you nothing, man. You family, you go get it. You open the fridge and get it. It's our brother Knowledge, born Allah. I want to make a quick announcement before we bring it on. Family, doing these monthly workshops, family, every month, last Thursday, every month, 6:30, 7:30 Eastern time. We're dealing with the hardcore community organizing stuff, not the glitzy, glamorous stuff, the hardcore stuff, the nuts and bolts stuff that separates the really effective organizations from the whack ones, right? This next one coming up on March 26th is dealing with the beauty and burden of ideology. We're going to get into how ideology helps what it's supposed to do and the dangers it creates in our organizations and amongst our people when we mishandle that ideology. It can result in some very ugly things if we don't handle it right. So that information is in the description section if you want to register. And now let me get to the real news of the day. So, family, we're here with a dedicated warrior for Black liberation. He's a brother I always love having. Harlem Liberation School is very clear. We don't bring nobody here that we don't love and respect. That's our policy. So if they're here, you may not like them, you may not get them, but we rock with them. If they come on this broadcast, that's our position. Um, most of you will know him from his award-winning podcast, Do the Knowledge Radio, and he does a number of things. He deals with youth development. He's a public speaker. He does a bunch of stuff, man. Like we all do. He's a real solid community organizer. That's what we do. Wear many hats. But in particular, he has this really beautiful collection of ebooks, and they're not regular ebooks. I do regular ebooks. What he does is we would call them flip books. So they're ebooks that are kind of three-dimensional. They flip, and when you flip them on your computer, you hear the sound like you're flipping an actual page. He has music in it. It's multimedia. It's really beautiful. And this particular one, he's been on before talking about him, but this particular one, Secure the Legacy, Black Family Tactical Preparedness for Urban and Rural Survival, is very important. They're all very important, but I don't know if you've been watching news. I don't know if you've been checking out the National Guard bum rushing these predominantly black cities or cities that have high black populations. I don't know if you've been watching ICE agents shooting folk and beating them up. I don't know if you've been watching how we're being accosted, and we've been accosted by police, right, and law enforcement officials since day one. But it's getting intense. We're moving, not we, the country is moving in a fascist direction. So, I'm thinking if there was 5 topics that we need to be talking about in 2026, preparing for emergencies, disasters, or emergencies in terms of martial law and that type of thing, is right up there in the top 5 things we should be talking about. So I applaud our brother for being timely, giving relevant and useful information, not a bunch of just circus sideline show stuff. He's talking about the real. We respect our good brother for that. We're going to bring our brother in, our brother Knowledge Born Allah. How you be, good brother?
Peace and black power. Baba AGYEI, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Glad to be here with you. You said I ain't a guest no more. I'm family. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't a
We
guest
still
no
treat
more, brother.
family
You got to
like
get
guests.
your own orange
You know,
juice.
that's what I'm talking about, man. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm glad to be here. And even more glad that you're gonna be with us on Thursday. Promoting
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's
the
right.
bird
That's right.
ideology. You know what I'm saying? So peace to my family in the building. Uh, there's a lot of speculation, right? A lot of speculation, a lot of fear mongering, a lot of misinformation, a lot of disinformation, but also a lot of truth wrapped up in a bow. That's out here that's going on. And, mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. So are you going to succumb to your fears? Are you in a situation of a blame game? Or are you going to take accountability for the aspects in which you can be a remedy and a prescription for your family affliction here? You understand what I'm saying? Because these things are going to be happening regardless. If you looked at any of these holy writings, if you subscribe to any of these holy writings, if you subscribe to any of the nationalist ideology, we've come to a place that our ancestors spoke about, the decline, the fall of America. Understand what I'm saying? All of these things, they're happening. They're happening on a multitude of levels. So if you're
Brother
not putting yourself
Knowledge,
in that,
don't give them all the goodies up front, brother. You gotta.
I give it a
it's,
little slap. We ain't doing too
yeah,
much. You
we
understand
gotta.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, brother, we
that.
gotta pace this out. First, let me just do due diligence and put up on the screen what we're talking about and who's talking. Brother Najee Bonala talking about Black family preparedness and survival. I want to put something on the bottom, let you know what HarlemLSchool is about, so y'all can check that out as we talk. I want to acknowledge a few people, brother Knowledge. We got Sister Ursula is in the building. She's saying good evening to the Wukusu family. I believe it
Legendary.
says CL Collins says peace family. He's
Another
agreed
one
with
of my
something you said.
tacticians in the building.
Say
Yeah.
again, brother
That's my
Knowledge.
brother. That's one of my brothers right there. You know what I'm saying?
All right, that's what's up. Thanks for joining us, brother. He's saying, what's up? He's saying peace to the sisters. Sister Ursula saying peace back to him. Thank you all for coming out. If you wouldn't mind, if you could share the link with some other Africans, new Africans, so they can come in and join us for what's going to be a very powerful broadcast. Let me start you with this, brother Knowledge. So your book, Secure the Legacy, focuses on preparation for emergencies and crises. What inspired you to write this book, and what is the core message you want Black families, the people reading it, to really understand about preparedness and survival?
Well, I deal with the first question first. The first question is what inspired me to write the book. I was sitting with one of my elders, the Nasu of Hanin Su, uh, Nasu Uncle Banu, and we were talking about one of the survival books, right? So, one of the survival books, there's a bunch of books out on survival, and survival has become a topic of discussion nowadays. And a lot of the folks are talking about prepping and things like that, but they don't look like us. So they got the information is out there. The information is presented like doom and gloom over the years and all of that. But for us, there are nuances. Many of us are in the urban urban environment in the rural area. So when he asked me about another book by one of our elders, I was like, it's a good book. It was like he said, but do you like it? I'm like, it's a good book. You understand what I'm saying? And he's like, but it ain't your book. He said, I'm like, no, it can't be. So he went from that way and was like, all right, we need your book. And I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, my elder said, yo, we need your book. And I was like, all right, but I wasn't gonna offer it to the public. I was only going to offer it to small pockets of groups of our people that had an interest because, each one of these books, like about it, is a class within itself. But, survival is another class. You see what I'm saying? Another actual physical class that's associated with the volume. So, acting on the wisdom from one of my elders, and then the necessity of survival becomes something that's long-standing in all traditions. All traditions amongst us, regardless to whether it's known in the public or the private. So the necessity, if you're with the organization, if you were the spiritual path, if you were the political path, whatever the case may be, and y'all are not discussing survival, you need to go to another spot. You understand what I'm saying? If your church is not teaching you, if your mosque ain't teaching you, if your temple or whatever the case may be, if you're before school, after school, or however you socializing yourself, if there's no uh, aspect in regards to survivability, you're in the wrong place. And we can't afford to be investing time, energy, finances, economic, whatever level of energy someplace and not being fed in that kind of way. It's natural. So you in an environment where you find yourself unnatural if you're not prepared to some degree to offer some sense of semblance to your family, with regards to survival.
Okay, and so having said that, what would you say is the core message people reading this book that you really want? If they don't get nothing else, they get this message. What would that be?
That we don't train from fear. We don't train from fear. We train from a space of clarity. That the space of fear, the time for fear is up. That's not our job. You know what I'm saying? Like if we go back to our elders, some of them now who are ancestors, if you go back to the Green Book, Baba AGYEI, if you remember the Green Book,
Yes,
the
sir.
Green Book
Coffee.
was based off of how we moved. You understand what I'm saying? And then there might be some novices out here who didn't know how to move. So the Green Book was a survival
You
guide.
talking about okay. I thought you were talking about Gaddafi's
Yeah,
Green.
it
You're
was
talking
a
about the Green
survival
Book
guide.
to go through different cities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That's another aspect of it. The Green Book from Muammar Gaddafi, but the earth moving through the cities, moving through the South, and moving through. Period. It wasn't just the South; it was everywhere. You understand what I'm saying? You had to be, you had to have a mind state that was clear, and we moved like that regardless, right? So now they call it sneaking stuff into the movie theaters and all that. And, we have food everywhere on the train, on the plane, you know what I'm saying, on the bus, all of that. So we were there with that kind of situation, for a multitude of reasons, but we were aware of our surroundings. We didn't get gas after dark. You understand what I'm saying? We didn't stop too long, blah blah blah. So we had already had that space. That's a level of situational awareness that we forgot. And then, this essence in regards to just being everywhere, you know. So we were mindful of where we went to and who we were around and how long we stayed and how long we were traveling and all of those things. So we had provisions in regards to what that was, and we have lost that art. We have lost that art. Most of the people are mobile, they're driving around, they're on buses, they're traveling about, and they're not traveling about with that kind of mind frame, like, yo, this bus can break down. This train, I could be stuck at this juncture for about an hour. You understand? I ain't got no cell phone reception, whatever the case may be. They're not prepared in that kind of mind frame. Even with the advent of survival becoming a very, topical push to the front kind of situation in regards to that. So, yeah, definitely our modality that we don't operate from a space of fear, regardless of what's going on. If you're prepared, your mind is the first place where it's at. You understand what I'm saying? Your mind and then your behind. You understand what I'm saying? You
I like
prepared
that, brother
in
Knowledge.
one
Yeah.
way or another.
So that makes me think about the connection. Everything has a literal application and a metaphysical, or you might say a symbolic application. So when we say be prepared in the home, we think that you have your heat, have your gun or mace or pepper spray. But could you speak about how being
Right.
prepared has other applications for Black people? Like not just if somebody comes up to your door with a gun, but being prepared as a people in other ways. Could you speak to that? The importance of connecting the two.
Definitely. Shout out to our brother Kofi P. Shea, one of the warrior scholars in the building.
Peace,
If
brother Kofi.
y'all ain't get together and connect, yeah, y'all need to connect, man. As a powerful brother from the literary sense and the literal sense. Good brother, you understand what I'm saying? Out here
Shout
doing the
out, brother
work.
Kofi. Hit me up.
Got periodicals, publisher, author, and just a good African. You understand what I'm saying? We need good Africans out here with good character. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Thorough researcher, amazing interviewer, all kind of things, man. So shout out to my brother Kofi P. Shea. When we start to look at other aspects of survival, one of the greatest practical examples is one I just named. We do a lot of traveling, whether by foot, whether by car. Most people are traveling by car, whether they're in their own car or they're doing Uber, Lyft, taxis. People still in New York, they still in the cab. Understand what I'm saying? Or they hoofing it out here. You see what I'm saying? They hoofing it out here, and just having situational awareness in regards to your surroundings. Knowing your terrain, knowing alternate routes to be able to travel. We rely too much on this GPS type situation. The lay of the land is one thing, right? The lay of the land is one thing, and these environments become another thing. So I don't teach from a doom and gloom perspective. I teach from a realistic perspective. So a realistic perspective is you in the car with your children, you in the car with your wife or your husband, your significant other, you in the car with one of your elders or something like that, and the car breaks down. What do you have in your car? What do you have on your person? How are you prepared to sustain yourself in that environment until a tow truck comes? I don't know if you ever been waiting for a tow truck, Baba, but them tow trucks don't come in 10 minutes. You understand what I'm saying? You might be out there on the side of the road for about 2 or 3 hours because of a malfunction, waiting on, AAA to dispatch, one of these emergency vehicles. Can you keep yourself safe? Can you keep yourself warm or cool or whatever the case may be? And if that becomes longer, do you have something in case to be able to bug in that vehicle to you out of that situation? That's just a car malfunctioning. We got traffic, right? So everybody's driving someplace. They know what time of the day it is. We still in rush hour right now, right? To maybe 8 or 9 o'clock in some places, depending on where you are. You know, people don't. Rush hour is people in the rush to get home. You understand what I'm saying? Like they in the rush to get home. So in that space of a rush, you're rushed in your mind. So accidents happen. You already got to drive for people who don't know how to drive. Now you think about they know what time of the day it is. They know they ain't going nowhere fast, but they headed nowhere fast. You understand what I'm saying? They breaking off on the median and all kinds of stuff. So the likelihood of an accident happening is when. It's not if. You understand what I'm saying? So same scenario. Same scenario. I was in Atlanta, headed back uh, to one of the spots in Georgia, and I seen like a 15-car pileup happen, like one of the movies type situation. Crash, 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 crash. It's a wrap. I had just, a week prior to that, did some tactical training with with one of the groups, and I talked about that. I went from talking about it to actually being in it, right? And I was prepared. You understand what I'm saying? You don't think about it until you're thinking about it. You don't know until you know. So these are the things are more likely than some of these other aspects. All of the aspects that I could address in the book in a short period of time, I did. But when I'm speaking to families, I want them thinking in that manner, right? You on the bus, you on the train, you out walking, whatever the case may be, being mindful of what's happening or the potential. Again, not from a fear template, but from an awareness template. Like it's just the likelihood, the probability of these things happening are very likely versus unlikely. And are you prepared? Do you have something in your vehicle? Do you have something on your person? Whatever that something is to protect yourself against people who are irate or people who are looking to do you harm. You understand what I'm saying? And again, the greatest weapon is your mind. So if you're afraid, then the fear is going to take over. And fear is a grave miscalculation, right? Fear plays tricks on your mind. And when I say mind, I mean your spirit. Like your mind is playing tricks on you. It can take the best out of you. It can prepare you the best or have you at a disadvantage based off of your own mind. So, being mindful of these type of situations, knowing uh, rescue methods, right? So rescue methods in regards to CPR, whatever, how to check a pulse, look, listen, feel, rise and fall of the chest, all of these aspects in regards to first aid, these are all things, versus a child versus an adult, an obese person versus a person that's, skinny. You see what I'm saying? Like, how do you deal with these kinds of things? And, how to observe your surroundings to spot a threat and put yourself in a position to be able to neutralize a threat. There's a lot of cats walking around with these Crocs on their feet and they head like this, Bobby. You see them? They just
all the time.
in they zone. You understand?
The smartphone has become our number one priority, and that's a problem. You know what? I read a study that said more people are breaking and spraining ankles and having accidents because they're texting as they as they walk on the sidewalk. I think you are frozen, good brother. All right, I will continue until we get our brother back. We are talking. This is at Harlem Liberation School. We are a Black Political Education Center, headquartered in Harlem, New York. Right now, we are operating completely through social media, but I am working diligently, family, to make sure that we get back in a brick and mortar and that we expand our capacity. So you might know that we have now we have a monthly broadcast that deals with political prisoners. Brother Bomani Shakur. We have a monthly broadcast that deals with um, Black trauma. And we have a monthly broadcast that deals with our, I guess we would say, natural health with our brother Haru. So we're trying to build out the platform. And actually, I want to know, we really would love to have some sisters, some sharp sisters, political analysis, African centered. If you have ideas for hosting a show, that would be great. I'd like to get some new ideas and some new blood. We really want to build this out. I turn on the TV, I see a whole TV guide of channels and all these different shows. There's no reason that Harlem Virgin School can't be like that. So I would love if any sisters watching, if you have some ideas, sisterhood circles or any things that you might do, that would be great. Um, for the knowledge, I think got kicked out, but he's supposed to be talking about his book that's dealing with securing the Black family preparedness survival. I believe he's back. I'm going to bring him back in. Hold on. All right, there we go.
Brother, can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother. Knowledge. Listen, man. If you want to take breaks, man, because you rich and famous now, bro, you got to let me know. Listen, uh, let me ask you this question, brother. Knowledge, because I know there was a statement. My father said it. I'm sure your father, uncle, whoever said it, we heard this all the time. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right?
Right.
With that in mind, how do you think that being an integrationist type of Black person, oh, this is, they say stuff like our government, our
Uh-huh.
military,
Yeah.
our police department, our
Yeah.
news station. How do you think
Hmm.
that in this case, having confused politics can set you up for not being prepared in the case of disaster? I think that's an important thing to deal with.
I think that August 29th, 2005 should have been a clear indication for some of the inhabitants here in the Americas about the government's response at a city, a state level, and a national level in response to Hurricane Katrina happening in Louisiana and Mississippi and some of these other places, and then more recently, Hurricane Harvey, and if you in Florida and some of these other places, Irma, and the things like that, the quote unquote natural disasters that were and are happening, and as we roll back into hurricane season in a lot of the states, being mindful of the emergency response. That's on a hurricane level, right? Now, if you in the East Coast, the response to the city in regards to the snow and the snow removal in some of these places, and a lot of the damage that happened in regards to that, and that city, local, county level response in regards to that is also another type of situation. So you have to be in a position to know and understand that ain't nobody coming to save you. That's snow and that's water on two levels. That's just water. You understand what I'm saying? That's water. So in regards to a situation of an immediate threat level where you live locally, I think we're kind of skewed in regards to that. That false analogy kind of breeds that thing in your mind where you're like, oh yeah, uh, they're coming to save us. Oh, our government will never let you understand what I'm saying? Like we can't have it both ways. We can't be out on the streets talking about F-12 and all that, and then something happen, and 12, you be looking for 12 to come save you. You understand what I'm saying? So we really have to be mindful of what we're putting out there in that regard, and then what their duties and responsibilities are. And you're dealing with the people who follows orders, right? You're dealing with people who follows orders. It's militaristic, so they have a chain of command, and they do what they're ordered to do. You see what I'm saying? So we ain't dealing in regards to our divine chain of command in regards to how we're situated and how we're supposed to do. So we're supposed to, have something in the case of the eventualities, amongst ourselves to be able to do what we need to do. So I think it's irresponsible to think solely that one of these governmental agencies or whomever is coming to save you. The Bible will tell you that God helps those who help themselves. So if you ain't helping yourself, you sitting somewhere, waiting on something to happen. With the overwhelming evidence that in these emergency situations, you will have to put these things together in regards to yourself. So the skewed analysis is a grave miscalculation. So this is why you have prepper groups and survival groups and things like that, and people building up networks and things like that, because those things happen. These things happen more so than not. There was just an earthquake, from what I understand, is being reported in Cuba. You see what I'm saying? Like it just happened, right? There's flash floods happening. There's all kinds of natural infirmities that are happening in a lot of these places across the United States. They just aren't being documented. They aren't being reported on either. You see what I'm saying? So these things are just happening. You just have to, kind of be hooked in. That helping hand you're looking for. That's another adage. The helping hand you're looking for is at the end of your arm. You understand what I'm saying?
I want to add on to that too, brother Knowledge. Family that's watching, we're a Pan African and Black nationalist outfit here, right? And so we start with the presumption that we believe in the teachings of Brother Malcolm, Brother Garvey. Um, Brother Malcolm, coming out the Nation of Islam, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they taught Black people that we could not rely on our enemies for anything good,
Right.
and that we should not get in the habit of relying on people we can't trust, who are malevolent. We should be preparing to get your stuff together, because in this particular climate, we did a whole video that if you look at fascism, the elements of a fascist state, Trump is meeting every one of those 5 or 6 things: suppression of the media, releasing military and using violence on the citizenry, punishing people who disagree with them, right? Trying to usurp all the power. So in his case, he's trying to take all the power of the 3 different branches and put it within his executive branch. So black people, and even if he wasn't doing that, I think we got enough history, family, to be able to say, yes, we know all white people ain't bad. We get it. We're talking about systems, right? Police departments. You know, there was a time where there was fire departments there's a fire in certain places, and the fire department didn't come to the black orphanage that was burning down here in New York City a long time ago, right? So we have to be clear on the history, right? And no matter who the president is, you know, no matter what the legislation is, we have to always be thinking. And this is what wise people do. They don't wait for them to say, everything's good now. But
Right.
what happens if? And let me tell you what happens if, family. If there's martial law, they're going to have certain places where you can get food. Certain supermarkets might be forced to close down, and their food may be confiscated. So you have to go to certain places. You have to travel to them. There's going to be lines of a lot of people there. Are you prepared to have food if that happens? Are you prepared? Do you have batteries? Do you have water? Right? So black people, of all people, if you didn't know, as Biggie said, now you know. Look at Katrina, that Spike Lee documentary, Brother Knowledge. Woo! And those people, it brings tears to your eyes. Grandma, they got grandma on the roof. The water's flooding her house, and they got signs saying, help me. Who do you think them signs was targeted to? Right? So what Knowledge is saying is right. On one hand, we bang on the police and this and that. But if something happened in our house, who we calling? 911. So what he's talking about is completely right and exact. And so this means that this is the time we probably shouldn't be spending a lot of money on stuff that ain't food, water, like essentials, because anytime it could be cut off. If you get food stamps, you getting anything from the government, they could cut all that off. So if you throwing all your money on all this stuff, now you got a lot of stuff, but you can't defend it. You can't eat. So this is important. Before we go further, Brother Knowledge, could you show us that book, man? I want to see that. I want them to see how beautiful it is. And I guess while you do that, I will go back to, I see we got some new Africans up here. As that CL Collins is in the building strong. He's saying facts, knowledge. We have Sister Ursula's in the building. She says she shared the broadcast. We thank you. Kofi Priest is in the building. Brother Kofi, Brother Knowledge says, me, you got to hook up, brother. Hit me up. Maybe you could send, a contact information to our email address. HarlemLSchool at gmail.com. Maybe we can hook up and get you on a broadcast or something. So, okay, let me get off of this and let us see what our brother has for us. You want me to share it now, Brother Knowledge?
Yes.
All right. That's that front
So
cover.
then this
Take us
volume,
through it. That's hot. Let me get rid of this
volume
title
is,
bar. You can see more of it. Okay. All right, Brother Knowledge. We're ready for you, my brother. Ready to turn it?
Second. No, I got it. Got it
Okay.
over here. I just need to get back to that screen right here. So again, this is a volume dedicated to our survival, right? And the cover, pardon me, if you think about this kind of posture, we are responsible for our own families, right? So I wanted a family appeal. Everybody in the family is responsible for their survival. When I train with families, from the youngest to the eldest, everybody has a responsibility, right? And it begins long before this. One of the situations I was in with one of the families, I asked them what are some of the things you could do better as a family, and I asked them. You see what I'm saying? Because in the training environment, what you want to do is be able to hone in on certain things that are presented, and not all black families are the same, regardless to how we want to paint them. We're not a monolith in that regard. So getting to the essence of each family, right? And with one of the families, one of the youth said, "Do better with my chores." He said, "Do better with my chores, Bob." I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "Why is it a chore? Why is it a chore?" I said, "Your parents provide you food, clothing, and shelter, right?" They like, "Yes, sir, they do." I said, "So why would somebody have to put something on the wall or on the refrigerator to remind you of what you're supposed to do?" I said, "This should be seen as your contribution to your family. So from this
Sure.
family as a whole, this is your part. They do their part, you do your part. Everybody does their part with pride because they're providing for the future survivability and sustainability of their family." And it was like,
Sure.
I never thought about it like that. I was like, so somebody shouldn't have to remind you of your contribution. You should be proud with your aspect, like
Self-motivated.
because you could be trusted to do this, you could be trusted to do a whole lot of other things. So if
Brother
you
Knowledge,
are
I did want to quickly just thank our good brother, CL Collins, for his generosity with the $20 um, donation to the cause. Appreciate that, good brother. Thank you for that. Go
all
ahead,
right,
brother
I'm not
Knowledge. I'm
on the
sorry.
screen, so I don't see. So just let
Don't
me
see yourself?
let me know.
I see
No, no,
you.
I'm sharing the volume. So if I'm sharing
Oh,
the volume, I'm on the page over there. So I can't do both. So
so
shout out
if
to
you tell me where to turn, I'll turn it for you.
no, no, I'm good. I got it on this end. Okay. So
Okay.
uh we're building up family, but we build up family in various of degrees. You see what I'm saying? So a
Mhm.
little bit of responsibility here, there, since time immemorial. So from a tactical position, it's the same. It's akin to one another. Everybody has a duty and responsibility for the overall safety and survivability of the family. So this is why I said black family, right? So we have black men in regard. We say, providers and protectors, but it doesn't rest on his shoulders alone. It doesn't rest on the shoulders of, the black woman alone. It's a collective effort of a family. So if you can get your family in order and everybody got their family in order, nobody becomes a burden. Nobody becomes a burden because you present your, self and prepare yourself in that kind of way so you deal with your family. And if you by yourself, you on your own, then you need to prepare yourself. You see what I'm saying? And if you have a group of people around you and y'all tight, like y'all say y'all tight, then y'all should be trained up in that kind of way as well. So again, I'm not coming from a doom or gloom perspective. I'm just showing this realistically. If this nation is at war, there's a couple things that happens, right? You already see the rise in the gas prices. It's like $8, $9 in California. You understand what I'm
Mm,
saying?
mm,
And the prices are spiking all over the nation. So you prepare for brownouts in regards to, you know, situations with your internet, right? As you see me experience earlier, and then blackouts, rolling blackouts, where these lights just go on and off. So again, if one of these places that you at, one of these religious or spiritual type of situations, they ain't telling you about no generator or how to purify water or something like that, then you need to reevaluate what these places are that you're devoting your time and your energy to. So you know, all these things become critical if when the lights go out, not if. They're already talking about rolling blackouts going through. So, again, what do you have? in your mind, and then on your person? Do you have things stored up for that type of situation? Because that's what comes along with this right here. You know, uh, these tactical units that's in your place, they're not securing you. They got different orders.
That's
So,
right.
real quick, brother, Baba Aj, right? You hear people use that term "boots on the ground," right?
All the time.
So, from a military perspective, one thing we should always remember: boots on the ground are the number of caskets and the number of body bags that they order per region. So, if they send 50,000 ground troops over to Iran, they got 50,000 caskets. They got 50,000 body bags. They're prepared to lose this amount of lives in regards to what their objectives are. And for some of the service members, this is what you signed up for, fam. You understand? So there's a situation now where some of the military folks are like, "Oh, I'm not going to go fight your war and this and that." You in the wrong outfit to be talking that BS you talking. You raised your right hand and said that you would support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and bear true faith and allegiance to the same. You're there. You're in that uniform. You understand what I'm saying? So you gotta go do uh, what you've got paid to do. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't dodging no paychecks on the 1st or the 15th, man. But you go get your boots on the ground. So if you are of the mind frame and you pushing this narrative around, because folks just take colloquialisms and run with them. Yeah, I'm out there, boots on the ground. All right, you prepared to be under that ground then, because that's what happens. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So being mindful of the terminologies that we ascribe to, folks is like, I'm dead, and all of those crazy stuff that they be saying, like that's supposed to be cool, but you're marking yourself in a certain kind of way, drawing these things to you. You understand? So this is
Mhm.
the ultimate reality. When you passed away in a combat or a tactical situation, this is where your boots are. Your boots are on the ground, your helmet is there, your rifle and your bayonet, and we salute in your boots. You understand? You are a casualty of war. So us being mindful of the things that we ascribing to ourselves. I'm just gonna go through a couple of pages, Robert, just for them to get a feel of what's going on. What I was saying earlier about the vehicle, your vehicle. There should be something in your vehicle in this regard. Something, most of these cars, they got some kind of thing for you to, like a spare tire for you to change the tire, right? They got a tire iron and a jack, maybe. You see what I'm saying? So in the eventuality of one of your tires blowing out, you got a spare that can get you to a place and to you in such position to be able to fix that tire or replace it. So think of this, these everyday carries or these bug out bags or whatever these things is. It's like your spare tire, and in the event of a situation that you're supposed to be able to utilize, right? So these masks, I put all of these things up here all on purpose to kind of create this sense of urgency or wisdom in your mind in regards to survival. So
For the
I
knowledge,
first
I'm sorry to
go ahead.
interrupt, but this is important to you now. We have somebody that's saying greetings to the family. I'm putting it up now, a full Warner, and they're asking the magical question of the evening: where can your book be purchased? Except he or she is not trying to do Amazon. They're making that clear. But where can they get your book?
Okay, they can get this book and all of the other books from me directly, and they can get it offline if they want to do the online situation via my PayHip. I'll give you a link real quick, but you can go to either PayPal or Cash App and get all 13 books. This book is a part of a series, and the series is priced at $150. But we're over here with our good brother, Baba AGYEI in the HarlemLSchool, so they can get it for the low. If they said they watch this broadcast or they watching this broadcast now, they can get all of the books for $50 today. So
Okay.
if they
Now,
look at it, go ahead, Baba.
what link? what link can I give them so that they can get to where they need to get to?
Okay. I'm gonna give you my Cash App is $ knowledge born Allah or paypal.me/do the knowledge radio. Let me go back over to where we at. We are right here. Real quick. We ship overseas. These are ebooks. Okay, I see that.
Okay, so I'm posting up the Cash App. It's Knowledge Born Allah. This
Right.
would mean that CL Collins has got jokes.
Hey, yeah, that's these are ebooks. So if you send your payment and you get the email, you'll get an email with all of the books. Just that
Yes, so
quick. You see,
a full warner is that okay? So a full of these are ebooks, which means it's like you know how somebody sends you a PDF and you get it digitally. You can see it on your
right,
screen. So it's not the
right,
physical books, but you can have it on your phone or your
right.
laptop or whatever. So yeah, they're ebooks. And Ursula says he always has jokes. Yes, he does. He's
Oh yeah.
funny.
Yeah, my
Um,
brother Comedy ain't playing no games, right?
so
So
he's saying if
yeah,
you send to the Cash App, let me put his Cash App up.
yeah, or email.
You see that Cash App? $ knowledge born Allah. And
Yeah,
this would
and
be
then tell them
what
to
would
put
they
their
say,
email.
Brother Knowledge? For the books,
Yeah, tell them
it would
to
say
put and with their email address. If you send your email address, you get them to your email.
okay. All
So,
right. CL Collins, we
or
understand,
you
but
can
we know we ain't taking it negatively. Yes. Afua says I'm old school, brother. I use actual books. He said he'll find a way. And I think he asked, can you do overseas? Now, brother Afua, the good thing about the ebooks is that overseas ain't a problem because he's going to send it right, you get it right through the computer.
right,
Are
right.
are these available as hard copy books, brother Knowledge?
I have a few. I have a few.
Okay. So they could
Yeah.
also hit you up on Cash App and send you what was it, $50 for all of the books? Is that
Yes.
right or no?
Yes.
Okay. So Brother Afua, he's saying that as a special, I guess, discount for being here at Harlem Liberation School for this broadcast, if he was to do this
Yes.
today, then $50 to his Cash App. Of course, you would have to send your address and these type of things, and he can get you all 6 books, Brother Knowledge?
All 13.
All 13. Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's a very good deal. Absolutely, because these days one book will cost you 50. Stop playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, brother. Knowledge, I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna keep the Cash App on so people can see it. Let's finish taking us through the book, good brother. It's a
All
beautiful
right.
book. Y'all see that art on this book, man? It's beautiful.
Work hard on it. You know what I mean? Work
Yeah,
hard
man.
on it so we can
Yeah, and it
see.
shows.
Uh, I'm gonna deal with this really quick. I'm gonna hurt some folks' feelings, but the feelings
Mm,
need to be hurt, right? Um, I don't care what range it is. A range is no place for you to train. I don't
mm,
care what kind of range it is. I don't like it. A range has a purpose, and that purpose isn't training. You don't go to the range to train. You're already trained before you go to the range. I promise you, Baba, the greatest person who's shooting that paper up at 2:30 in the afternoon or 2:30 in the morning, if they have to engage a threat, nobody's going to wait for us to put on our headphones and to get in a proper position to be able to fire that weapon system at us. I promise. You know,
yes,
2:30
sir.
in the afternoon or 2:30 in the morning. You know, they're kicking your door in or they're accosting you at your vehicle or they didn't watch you get drunk and stagger to your car and they waiting on you.
Oh, wait.
They're not gonna be
Oh,
waiting for you to get into that stance to get to that weapon system or pull that weapon system out. So it creates an unrealistic expectation that targets are just going to appear and they're going to be stationary and they're going to be stagnant. Now, you can go to a place to kind of create that environment. I've seen some as of late where, people are shooting on the move and things like that. So, what you do when you're in a flight situation, but you're not in a fight situation. Nobody's aggressing you. Nobody's firing back at you from undercover. You understand what I'm saying? So you're not in that type of situation. You don't know how to engage these threats. They just appear and they're non-lethal threats. You understand? So if you're not in an environment where it's extremely high stress or extreme duress, where people are looking to engage you, you're not creating realistic expectation. Paint hurts, but paint don't hurt like a bullet hurts.
Yeah, I know that's right.
You understand what I'm saying? It's
I know
so
that's right.
we
Yeah,
can't.
man.
We now there are places where you can sort of regiment in regards to that, where it's like, okay, we teaching muzzle discipline, treat every weapon system like it's loaded, all of that, blah blah blah. So you're in that environment, but again, that environment is not optimal. Nobody's going to wait for you to do anything. You understand? So if you got your weapon system with you and it's in the lockbox and the ammo separated from the lockbox and all that type of situation, we got to be more mindful in regards to that. Some of these other folks, they might have the luxury of doing that, but you ain't got the luxury of doing that. So what else do you have on you? Again, your mind is your strongest weapon. So weapons of opportunity. Anything that you can put your hands on and utilize can become a weapon instantaneously. Every bit of it. But again, there's false expectation where you going somewhere, you got some sort of tactical vest on and all of that stuff. Like unless you walk around like that 24/7, and it's not happening. So these environments are for the trained, not for training. Okay, so just being mindful in that regard. And if they close enough for you to use a knife, you're already up out of here most likely. You understand what I'm saying? So a
Brother
high stress
Knowledge,
environment. Yes, sir.
let me ask you this. What what is a common thing when
Mhm.
people think about all the stuff we need if there's an emergency? What do you think is a common thing people forget to have in case of an emergency in the house? I know one. I got. I'm gonna wait till you though. I'm gonna wait till you go.
In the house,
Yeah, something that they just don't. They overlook it. They don't think about it.
all right. So a common thing would be a flashlight, right? That's one. Not not this phone because these die, right? So a flashlight and what they used to call them, like the little tea leaf, the little candles.
Yes, tea
They
candles.
could, yeah, they could be used for light, for heat, for cooking, all kinds of things. You understand what I'm saying? And if you get close and that wax hits you in the eye, you got a chance to douse somebody in the eye with that joint and get up out of there. You understand what I'm saying? So there are a couple of things in regards to that where they multi-use, right? They're
Mhm.
multi-use. Some people don't have lighters, they don't have waterproof matches, they don't have any of those things, right? How to
Yes.
be able to start a fire if you need to start a fire, or whatever the case may be in that regard. So
How about a first aid kit?
right, right.
That's something
I
people, and it's an emergency. You would think that would be something you think of first, right? But it's something that
Yeah,
people tend to overlook. So now
yeah,
somebody got
and they
cut,
don't even know where it's
bruised,
at, right?
right,
Right, they don't
right.
even know where it's at. You see what
Or
I'm
they
saying?
got
And
one and it's missing some of the stuff and they didn't refill it. So that's important.
yeah,
Fire extinguishers.
right, right. So these are all things that where you're supposed to be able to train. Period. These are those things, right? These life sustaining situations, right? Your medication, whatever your medication is, whatever you know. These are things that folks aren't. I get them and I store them. You know what I'm saying? Like and aspirin could make the difference, or whatever the case may be. I'm not promoting any of that. But if most people, 9 times out of 10, they're in that kind of situation where they're dependent on some sort of prescription drug or some sort of medication. You have to have it available. You have to have it uh, somewhere accessible. You know what I mean? Like that's a part of your bugging in or bugging out sort of checklist, right? Um,
C.L. Collins
so
says
the,
cold weather blankets.
oh yeah, he a legend in real life. You see what I'm saying? It's not he not one of these folks who intellectualize in war. He doesn't win the combat and survive. You see what I'm saying? He's past survival and survival, but he prepared to get down. Most folks ain't prepared to get down, right? So a lot of people have a lot of things, but it's only as good as you. You can have all of the weapon systems in the world and all of the stuff, and you look like you prepared, but are you? Right? You see somebody stub their toe before, Baba, they stub their toe, and all of their sensibilities done went out the window.
I done stubbed my toe
You get that,
and
you get a
lost my sensibilities for a good 3 minutes. Oh yeah.
right, you get a headache, you get a toothache, all of a sudden it's
Oh
over, it's a
yeah.
wrap, right?
Yeah,
Mike Tyson always said what he said, everybody got a plan till they get punched in the face,
punched in the
right?
mouth. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. You get punched in the mouth, and
That's
then all
right.
of a sudden, that
Changes
shadow
everything.
boxer don't look as good no more. what they
Yo,
what they did,
cut
and I'll go
cut
get
from
you
a
sucker.
different
He said,
cloth
he said,
says matches.
I was trained for combat, but I ain't never been in it, right?
Mhm.
So folks, it's out there, but yeah, just being mindful of in regards to that. So I'm glad you brought up the house analogy. So with this house right there,
Mhm.
most folks don't know something as simple as how many windows they have in their house.
And
They
why is
don't
that
know.
important, brother Knowledge?
If you have 10 windows in your house and there's two of y'all, you on the ground floor, you got to defend 10 windows. That's 10 points of entry plus the door.
Mm.
10 points of entry plus the door. So y'all got 5 windows each. And you better hope don't nothing happen to either one of y'all, because both of y'all are interdependent on how y'all gonna survive the situation if you're there, if you stuck in the house and you can't move.
Mm.
So are you prepared to just that? Right? So with this book right here, I was talking to the adults and to the children. I said, how would you defend this house right here? And the first thing somebody said was the window. You got an obstructive view dealing with that window. And that's the first place that somebody's coming. The window, the doors, blah, 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 all of that, right? So I'm like, how many windows you have? They're like, how many, and the children was like 8, 10, 3. I would be on the roof. I would be, at the sides of the house. The children are saying this. This is what the grown folks is like, I ain't never thought about it. The children was like, because their mind is not, bogged down with paying mortgage, rent, utilities and all that. Like you looking at a house, it looked like a nice house and it's suitable for the family, but you don't know it's in the flood zone.
Right.
You got one way in, one way out type of situation. You don't know who your neighbors are, none of that. You just thinking about, okay, how much, this is, for the family type of situation. You're not thinking about everything else. Their mind, they don't have to think about none of that. they thinking
It's
about, all right,
observant.
yeah, yeah.
They
They're
observe
they're
everything.
they're paying attention. They got secret compartments and ways to get out of the house you ain't even thinking nothing about no more because you're not a child anymore. You see what I'm saying? You're thinking about paying rent. So even with the next picture, the young boy got his way of meditating, and so does his pops. His pops got his own. You
I
see what I'm
like that
saying?
you included that, brother. I
Right,
like
right,
that spiritual piece is desperately
right.
right.
Because you got to keep your mind intact. You
Yes, sir.
understand what I'm saying? You got to keep your mind intact. Like, Evander Holyfield got punched in the face by Mike Tyson, but he wound up beating him not once but
Yeah.
twice. You see what I'm saying?
Holyfield's a different type of different beats right there.
So he went in there, prepared. And he wasn't playing fair either. He was fighting dirty. You understand what I'm saying? You don't think you're about to get in the ring with Iron Mike Tyson and play fair. All right, good luck. You understand what I'm saying? Good luck. Somebody gonna have to tell you what happened while they picking you up off of the the tarmac or the canvas. Somebody gonna have to tell you what happened because you ain't gonna know what happened. Did I win? Understand what I'm saying? So yeah, that mind frame in regards to keeping yourself at a level where you remove anxiety, where you remove depression, all of those things. You're operating from a space of clarity. Again, that's clarity, clear, focus.
Love it.
I'm gonna go to like two more pages real quick, Bobby.
Sure, let's do it.
I'm gonna wrap it up real quick.
Remember, for today only, right now, you can purchase all 13 of Brother Knowledge Bonala's beautiful and highly informative ebooks. All 13 for $50. Put the Cash App information up there, family, and his Cash App handle. You put your email, and as soon as you get that, you'll get it soon, and you'll get it immediately because it's digital. You get it in your email.
Right. Let me go back to, you see the brothers out there, they're training, right? They're training. So you train for eventualities, right? You train so you don't have to think about it. Actions on contact, we drill it in, right? Like they say, a fire drill, a tornado drill, or earthquake drill, a active shooter drill, right? So you train your body to engage in a certain sort of manner, right? So they're training. They have to trust one another. He had his back turned, and somebody's covering his back, and he's covering their back from their vantage point, right? So you see one instance right here, and then you see the other instance in regards to, how this comes, right? This is how your enemies are coming for you. You understand? So just creating that sort of awareness in that regard of how things are happening. So let me go to the last page I want to deal with real quick. This is a picture from Hurricane Katrina, Baba. You understand what I'm saying? And that's Louisiana. Nobody talked about how detrimental it was in Louisiana. Not Louisiana, Mississippi. Mississippi didn't get any of the press. And one of the things I wanted to add to what you were saying about, the film was, in real life, no emergency vehicles or nothing was allowed into this place for 7 days. Mm-hmm. So the people who were on the roof were the people who survived 7 days. Mm. So, I know folks who was there that were helping rescue people that didn't wait for the government to let them in. And they were wading through bodies, brother. They were wading through bodies. So, some of the people heard the explosion.
I wasn't there during that, but I had just come back from the Essence Music Festival. And so this happened about 2 weeks, 3 weeks after that. And I remember sitting there and I'm looking, I'm like, yo, I was in that, whatever they call the dome they got. I was in there where the football team plays. I was in there. I was over here. And I'm a visitor. So imagine the tourists don't know anybody, don't know anything that was caught there.
Right.
And then think about the people that's indigenous. Like that was heartbreaking, man, to see that. It really was. And that showed that our drawers was showing that we wasn't ready. Yeah.
Right. So, they'll hit you. They'll hit you with some of these things. These are lasting effects, right? 2020 was another sort of simulation. Folks is it's 6 years ago yesterday, right? 6 years ago yesterday, they were talking about the pandemic. They officially, labeled it a pandemic.
brother. I'm
Go ahead,
sorry.
go ahead, go
It's
ahead.
just these things happen in my life every time. So I want to shout out brother CL Collins. Now he threw 100. I'm like,
That's
wait
my
a
brother.
minute now.
He ain't playing.
This brother gonna make me do a poem or something.
You got to do something for him.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
got to do something
Yeah,
for him.
man. That's spirit right there. He says favorite beverage on me. This is great, family. Now, brother CL Collins, just so you know, you gave $100. You said favorite beverage. So I don't know if you meant to give $10, but
Look, look.
you
He
got
said,
100, brother. He said, no,
go
we
handle
good. He
your
said, no,
business.
Bob, you good.
Yeah, he ain't playing.
That's what's up. That's
He was
what's up.
not playing.
And listen, family, as we talk about $100 and all this, we're here for a very specific reason. We are not here just to talk and run our gums. This brother that you see to my right has been about this serious, hardcore community organizing work for decades. And in my estimation, he is one of our greatest guerrilla journalists. I don't mean ape gorilla. I mean underground, not the mainstream. So if he got what over 10,000 shows, brother Knowledge?
Ain't that far yet.
Okay.
4,000.
How many you got?
4,000.
That's listen, we got 600 something shows. I'm like 4,000. So this brother, he's interviewed some of our best and brightest, and he is one of our best and brightest. So please, we talk about, we want revolutionaries fighting for our rights 24/7, but we don't fund them. We don't fund them, right? So what if you want that type of quality media, you got to fund that. You got to support that. White people going around killing black people, that are these white cops, the white community come up and throw $250,000 in their account so they could retire, family. We got to start really supporting ours, right? So please, I'm going to put this back up. I want to make sure we don't forget. Our brother has these books for sale. I want to make sure I can find where I put this here. But you go ahead, brother Knowledge. I just wanted to make sure I told him, like, this is important. Don't let this go by. And if you can support, and support our brother, man. That's important. That's important for his spirit to know that he's on the right track, that he's doing well. That's what I was just acknowledging, and that's important to support the struggle. Brother Knowledge, tell us, why are you doing this in the first place? Besides giving that information, why are you raising that money, using the books to raise money? That's very important.
Right. Excellent question, Bob. Sometimes I'll be on the roll and I'll be forgetting. You understand what I'm saying? We got DTK Multimedia Production Company, and that multimedia is to generate and properly document Black stories from around the globe. So had an audacious goal of 1 million Black stories from around the globe. Authentic, right? Not something performative, not something contrived, natural and actual. A lot of us they want our story to be seen and heard, but once you see, somebody getting rewarded, like the Oscars, right? So the movie Sinners, Michael B. Jordan, he won an Oscar. You see what I'm saying? So he becomes an impressionable figure in the public, but he grew up in that industry, from a child. His mama was not having him in these environments that was not conducive. So he grew up. We watched him grow up on the TV screen, but that goes to his mother, right? That goes to his mother and the tutelage and the guidance and the training and the discipline that came along with that. So it's not an overnight thing. Like 6 Black people in 98 years, an Oscar, right? That's a whole nother subject. But the kind of dedication and things in regards to living your life in the public is another thing, right? So with DTK Multimedia Production Company, we have a docu-series, a web series, where we are chronicling and showing authentic Black life that's not contrived, and it's not the misnomers that we are receiving via the entertainment industry and the media. So, every dollar is dedicated to continuing on that work. So, the crowdfunding situation, got to shout out Baba AGYEI and his Queen Brenda. They had put together a GoFundMe crowdfunding sort of aspect for me via this platform, uh, HarlemLSchool. So instead of me going that route, I wanted to create a product that's something of value, for that exchange. So something that you can have long term, your children's children, your grandchildren, whomever. These books are written with them in mind. You see what I'm saying? We're talking about a tactical type of situation, but the title of the book is called Secure the Legacy. Folks is talking about securing the bag. You're going to end up in a bag trying to secure a bag.
Mm.
So if you're
Teach.
securing your legacy is intact, it remains intact, from a space of clarity, from a space of love, and from a space of thoughtfulness. Like you thought enough of your future generations to go get this training and to prepare them. They say train a child up in the way that they should go, and they won't depart. You see what I'm saying? So this multimedia production company is something that's designed with the books, with the music. Each one of the volumes has amazing music. The books, the music, the docu series. From that perspective. So all of this proper propaganda to show young black people themselves in a righteous light, because every time other than that, they see themselves in a compromised position. So whether it's criminal or it's exploitative. So this, is a goal that's twofold. And I want to encourage a group of young people to continue on the work as correspondents, as journalists, as content creators, as revolutionary thought leaders, as strategists, as folks that deal with STEAM, science, technology, arts, uh, engineering, excuse me, science, technology, engineering, arts,
Mathematics.
agriculture, and mathematics. You see what I'm saying? So the future STEAM thought leaders of tomorrow in regards to sustainability, where the real nation building comes down to it. And then, your narratives. What narrative are you telling yourself in your mind? Are you telling yourself you're a victim? Are you telling yourself that you're inferior? Or are you, imbuing yourself with a championship mindset and you're prepared to go and do what's necessary to become a champion and become victorious, to go from victim to victorious? So all of this through artful means of proper propaganda and the power of the story. What's your story, right? What's your story, and who's telling your story? If you're telling your story, that's one thing. But if your enemy is telling you your story, you're going to be the criminal. You're going to be the bad guy. You're going to be the villain. This is where that word villain comes from. The village, the villager. You see what I'm saying? They might say, "Oh, here comes the village idiot." This is what the ruling class thinks of its population, useless eaters and things of that. So they'll present you in a way that's contrary to who you are, and then the people who are go along with that, they criminalize you as well. So we have to be able to tell our own stories. You know, Baba Aj been out here in the trenches for a long time, and he has a story, a true story. You understand what I'm saying? And people come to him, for wisdom at this age. You know what I'm saying? So there's a whole life that's associated with him, from his name, with your name, and then your birth story, and then your family that you come up in. How many people know their own family story, their own family history? They're out there giving up saliva to folks to tell them where they came from and all of that. These are all stories. These are all stories within stories. You see what I'm saying? So the importance of your story can determine the diameter of your thinking and self-actualization, and then what message you give to the world. With your story, you become an ambassador of your family, an ambassador of your bloodline, and what it looks like for the future. So the Bible says a good name is better than gold. So if you have a good
Yes,
name
sir. Yes, sir.
versus this other name, you don't want your name to stink. In Now Valley, they made
That's
that
right.
distinction with your ring, with your name, and your name
Everything.
is
everything.
associated
It
with
ain't
your
the money.
purpose,
It's that's
and
everything.
all of those things in regards to your future and how you're remembered. So if you a sucker or a chump, when your name get brought up, they be like, man, that sucker, man, that chump. You understand what I'm saying? But if you set
That's right.
something into motion for success, when your name is brought up, they give your name with
It
reverential awe. They
ring.
be like, oh, hey,
Yes,
this
sir.
brother right here, this sister right there, peace and blessings
Ring.
be upon them. They left something, they did something, they worked for something. So, a Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him.
Mm.
You hear his name, and it's associated with a life of one who was a change agent for his people. You understand what I'm saying?
Warrior.
Versus
Yeah.
some sucker. We don't even call the sucker's name. You understand? I don't even want to hear about that. So you have an
Right.
opportunity to, reform how your name is currently and will be in the future long after you are gone. You understand what I'm saying? So, for the church folks, they say with Jesus, there's power in the name. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to be mindful that we're not only creating for now or for the moment or whatever feeling that we're in at the moment, we're creating for a lifetime and lifetimes thereafter. So our children's children to the seventh, 10th generation will be able to garner from the work that we do today. So activating the power of the now, for your personal life and your family's future.
I want to add to that, brother Knowledge. First of all, I want to again applaud our good brother. I want to, we complain. You know how we do. We complain about every flaw. We flaw finders. We like to find everything wrong with people and things. But you know what? Sometimes to build your spirit up, to do the type of work we got to do monumental work, man. We're going up against a monumental enemy. That means we got to have our spirits up. We got to be ready to put in that work gleefully, right? So that means we got to see people and pull out little pieces. Say, you know what? That brother's consistent. I know, brother Knowledge Boy. You can bet your life that he's got episodes coming up. You don't have to. You know that, like the sun is coming up in the morning, and that's how we got to be. Just the way that we shake our ass and throw money here and da da da. We got to be known as the people who take care of business, because the enemy is absolutely plotting on us, and he's using some of us. See, that's the thing. It ain't just white folk, man. He got some of us down with him, right? So when you see a brother like this, let me make this very clear. We complain about social media. Let me make my point. Oh, social media this, social media that. But guess what? We have free platforms where we could do the work that Gil Noble, the mighty Gil Noble, was doing. He had to be in a station, and he had to, he had to do what he had to do, battle the producers in New York to get his things out about Malcolm and get Bob Marley on this show and get all our heavy hitters. We got free platforms. We don't have to go fight with no producers. As long as we got a mic and a camera and internet, we have the ability to put forth a narrative, as Brother Knowledge was saying. So you're going to find increasingly these independent Black media platforms are going to be more and more important in days to come, because one of the things that your boy wants to do, the president, is squash dissenting opinion, is squash critical thinking. So platforms like Do the Knowledge Radio, HarlemLSchool, Black Power Media, there's a bunch. Black Liberation Media, there's a bunch of people doing that good work, are going to be more important. I just want to make sure I say to you, make sure that you investigate other Black independent media forms so that you can get information that's right and exact. Brother Nod, you want to show us something, right?
Yeah, Bob, I had my hand on this book earlier. This is one of these books, and they're promoting their books now. They're promoting their books, but this book is not specified to you. It's made in general for the quote unquote general population, but you're supposed to be able to take what you get, synthesize it, and customize it to you. So, the tactical training experience, the survival disaster situation is unique to you, unique to your family. You need your own survival plan, right? Bob, when you asked me that question, I immediately went to utility earlier about what's one of the things that people often overlook in their house is their plan. That's the first thing, right? They put it in the mouth of what's his name, George C. Scott or something, whatever that fool's name was from the A-Team. You say, "I love it when the plan comes together." And the Hannibal character of A-Team. He said, "I love it when the plan comes together," and he didn't have anything to do with the plan, right? But he had put people in position to make it appear as if he was the one that was the master planner, right? So if you don't have something to reference, if you didn't leave anything, Bob, if I get called back to the ancestral realm, my children are prepared. They know exactly what to do. Right now, I could leave right now. They know exactly what to do. I was in South Carolina, and they were in North Carolina, and they survived 2 hurricanes. I
Mm.
wasn't in a position to get to them. They was prepared though. You understand what I'm saying? They,
Wow,
they
that's
had
a
their
heck of
bug
a
out
testimony.
bags. They had all of that, and they were children. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to put ourselves in a position, economically, financially, physically, spiritually, emotionally, to be able to weather whatever storm is coming. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever storm is coming on whatever level. So it's not going to decrease, it's going to increase as these things, uh, level themselves out. You don't want to find yourself in a position. You understand what I'm saying? Like I was out there shoveling snow, Bobby, in New York. You understand? Through Brooklyn. I was out there shoveling snow,
Ooh,
helping
now that's
push
work.
cars
Yeah.
out, digging people out, cleaning out the walkway for the elders. You see what I'm saying? Like I've seen the spirit, it still exists. It's not all hope is lost. There's still folks that are righteous that are out here, despite all of this negative propaganda that we're seeing. So
That's
there's
right.
still a future. There's a future, within us if we grab a hold of it. If not, we continue to fall victim to our inaction or our action without proper knowledge or training.
Yes, sir. Man, listen, man. Uh, y'all, I got a chance to look at this book. All of the books, I want to say, are really beautiful. You know, if it was a hard copy, it would be the type of book you would put on the coffee table. You know how your mama had the really big, oversized book she had on the coffee table? People come over, had girlfriends over and drink coffee and talk. It'd be just a picture book or just a really beautiful kind of conversation piece. It's really beautiful like that. And I like the fact they didn't get to hear any of the music, but he got music in it, family. This is multimedia. This is something as a teacher, I would have loved to have had something like that as a tool 30 years ago in the classroom. This is something you can actually play speeches, songs, right? People spitting lyrics. It's beautiful. And I think you can even have video in that, correct? If you wanted to.
Yeah, every one of them. Every one of them has a soundtrack and a video at the end. So
Yeah, man.
every one
It's
of them,
hot.
is designed for our young people. That's attractive to the eye, with people that are profile that they have visual recognition with, and some people that they don't. So uh, these are their heroes, and as as well as I do as an author. Once you put it out there for the public, it's for the public. It ain't for you no more. It don't belong to you no more. And I want to hook in with the groups. I want to hook in with the homeschool networks, the before school, after school, political education platforms, all of that, and offer this as a fundraising tool for their organization. For your podcast, for your radio station, for your school, for your organization. And I want to partner with them. 50-50. So you have an opportunity to not only get this information, but also benefit from a financial standpoint in regards to the partnership. So, we're looking for people who are dedicated, who are going to, help us push this proper propaganda narrative, and, it's incentivized. You see what I'm saying? So, if you have a school, if you have a, group of people that you're working with, whatever the case may be, get with me and let's collaborate and let's do this collaboratively. So that way, there's a situation where you're incentivized further for your efforts. In fact, you are rewarded. You see what I'm saying? So if y'all want to get it, through Baba and I could go half on it. You understand what I'm saying? And Harlem Liberation School benefits from this as a fundraising tool and mechanism. If we aren't weaponizing and maximizing off of what we're doing, we're wasting our time. You understand what I'm saying? We're wasting our time. And people, they might be like, oh, all right, yeah, whatever, yeah, them books, they ain't looked at them. You understand what I'm saying? So they don't see the value. But if you're saying, oh, okay, I'll break you off something. They're like, let me look at these books. Oh, let me see what's happening. You understand what I'm saying? So again, we want to incentivize the behavior associated with self mastery and with a victory sort of mindset, a growth mindset versus a stagnation victim, fixed mindset going forward. We're putting things together, getting back to the business of family, and eradicating those enemies towards our resurrection and rise. So, wake up, clean up, stand up could be a thing of the past. You understand what I'm saying? Because the people is up, they woke up, they cleaned up, and they standing up, and they become proud ambassadors to their bloodline. And it comes with that, family situation and that family plan for the future that involves everybody in that family future, like everybody's family survival.
Well, listen, brother, we want to thank you for coming through, making time for us. We know you're doing a whole lot of things. We want to
Right.
thank you for having the foresight to say, not just to complain, not just to say what we need, but to produce what we need. Oh, that's very important. People sleep on that. But we stand on the shoulders of legions of Africans and New Africans who saw the problem and who addressed it. So we salute you for that. And anything, as you know, that we can do to help facilitate what you're doing, all it is a phone call, my brother. You know that it's a phone call. We do whatever we can. Family that are still watching live, thank you for coming through. I want to thank, I believe was it CL Collins for his generosity. Thank you, brother Kofi. I hope you sent me your information. Sister Ursula, was quite a few Africans on board. I want to thank you all. We also want you to, if you have not already, to please go to brother's channel. Let me just put that up. I think you all would know where to go, but just in case you don't, go to Do the Knowledge Radio and subscribe to our brother's YouTube channel. This brother got 4,000 episodes. I don't know if y'all understand, like, that's a lot. That's a lot of episodes, family. That's a lot. So he's putting in hardcore work. And for those of you who don't understand, with YouTube, when he puts them videos up, after we're done with this video, for instance, the live, YouTube is going to keep the recording. So it's archived. So when Brother Knowledge Born Allah's case, you can go back to his very first video he ever did. And you could go all the way from the first one and watch everyone on up. So he's creating, this is not just a YouTube channel that we're talking about, that we're doing. We're creating libraries, a body of work, of information that you can go to for free. And this is very important that we take advantage of that, man. So thank you, Brother Knowledge Born Allah. We're going to stay in touch, see how we can help each other. Also, family, I'm going to be on Brother Knowledge's broadcast, I believe, on Thursday.
Thursday, 6:30 p.m. sharp. They used to
That's
say,
right.
"Looking sharp, you'll be out there sharp." Because Baba Aj ain't playing. Like, hey, brother, now say we told the people 6:30. Let's rock and roll. You understand what I'm saying?
That's that
Sharp.
old school, yeah, man.
Yeah,
Old school
yeah.
be on time thing, yeah, man. That's
Right.
important. So yeah, so I'm going to thank you, brother. I think there's one more comment. See, let's make sure. And it's direct. CL Collins says, "I have them." Oh no, that's hold on. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, any chance you have? A Fool Warner says, "Any chance you have any books from the late great Dr. Amos Wilson?"
I definitely do. I'm looking at least four of them right here.
Oh yeah, I might be out of place speaking for a lot of people whom I don't know, but I have to say, if you're serious about this work, you gotta have at least one Amos Wilson. I
Right,
mean, it's
right.
yeah. But I don't know if he might want to know if you're selling it. I don't know if that's what is that what you're asking, Afua, brother Afua? You asking if he's selling any books for Dr. Amos Wilson? Try to wait to see if he can respond to that.
Well,
That may
if
have
he
been.
responds, I do have a black bookstore in Florida. I could hook him in with, you know.
Yes, he said yes, brother. He wants to buy. So, brother Fool, he has a black bookstore in Florida. How would he get in touch, brother? Knowledge.
Tell him to email me at donaldsradio@gmail.com, and I will plug him in to one of my elders out here, Desmond A. Reed. He has their bookstore uh, out here in Longwood, Florida. You know, he used to be in Brooklyn, you know, downtown, across from East West. You know what I'm saying? And he's down there. He's down here in Longwood, Florida. DOTHA. THA.
Did I misspell that, good brother?
Yeah. I don't want him to
Sorry,
get
these things
Charlie
are so
Murphy.
small.
Yeah,
It is the print
DOTHA.
is so small.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's
Brother Afua, it's do the knowledge, do THA knowledge radio at gmail.com. Oh, he said he's reached out. Yeah. He's reached out to Dr. Wilson's business partner in Brooklyn. Okay, yes. Very good.
he's the truth.
Yeah, that brother's serious. I forget his name, but there's also a brother I work with, brother, we call him Baba Afam, Daryl Aikens Fam. He works with him too. Yeah. So, yep. Very good. All right, family, we signing off. We put in a little extra time because Brother Knowledge Born Alive is worth that extra time. And we wanted people to know about the book, see it, feel the energy, hear some reasons why they should buy it. Yeah, so we want to thank you all for joining us. Please remember, family, we got a lot coming up. That March 26th, that's coming up next week. That workshop, leadership workshop, the beauty and burden of ideology. He's going to email you. Very good, Brother Ford. Thank you for that. Make sure you check it out. Go to the description section. I have a lot of information that you can look up for Brother Knowledge Born Allah and the channel itself. For more information, go to the description section of the video. With that said, thank you, family. Peace and black power. Wukusu, free to land. We got this. We're winning. We just may not know it yet. Don't give up. Keep your spirits high no matter what you see around you. Keep the spirit high and stay positive and forward thinking. Get involved and do what you can as long as you can be consistent. And we're going to win this. I believe that with all my heart. What you think, Knowledge Born Allah?
We already winning.
There it is. Well, family, we are out. Have a blessed evening, and we will see you next time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here and also do the Knowledge Radio. Thank you, family. Peace and black power.